Welcome back, you guys, and today I have a short, hopefully, anime haul video, kind of. A lot of this stuff is actually from Christmas. I thought about doing a whole Christmas haul, but it didn't turn out. So I figured I'll just do this one because it mainly pertains to my hobbies. But I also have a squishy. I bought this off of eBay. There's a toy shop where I work, and they were selling this little guy, and I immediately wanted it, but he was kind of pricey. So I got him for $7 on eBay. He is surprisingly soft and squishy. It's by Hammy. Super cute. My only gripe is that the seller neglected to tell me that he already had little stains on the back. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, so I just put it in the feedback that they forgot to tell me about this. Then there's some on the pizza too. Kind of bugs me. But here is the licensing on the bottom. But yeah, super cute little Gudetama squishy. If you see these around, I think there's other variations where he's on different food. I know there's a taco one for sure. They're actually pretty squishy and super cute. So I would recommend these, but make sure not to pay too much for them because they're not worth it. Now on to the actual haul. I'm going to start with something that you probably will not see from me very often, and that is video games. I am not a gamer. I have a PS4 and that's pretty much it. Technically, I also own a PS3, but for sure I also own a Switch. I bought that mainly for my sister, but also so I could use it whenever, if ever, I decided to. And the game that I bought for that during a Walmart Christmas sale was Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I've never personally played a Legend of Zelda game, but I have watched my sister play them on the 64 growing up, and they did look really interesting. This one honestly looked the most interesting, so I decided to get it. It was about $30 during the sale. I think full price it's about $50 or $60. That's so crazy to me that video games are that much at full price. One thing I find kind of dumb is that the case is so big, but the cartridge is so tiny. Look at how small that is. A case this big for that small of a cartridge, kind of dumb, but whatever. That's a non-gamer opinion. I do kind of miss, though, that games don't seem to have booklets in them anymore. That's kind of the thing I always checked whenever I bought a game growing up, is the booklet, so it's kind of a shame. I have no idea what the plot is, so I can't tell you guys that, unfortunately. Okay, next, I haven't actually opened this one. This one is called Concrete Genie. No idea what the plot is either, but I saw a trailer for it, and it was also on sale on Best Buy. So I figured, you know what? It's got good ratings. Let me try it. And I'll open it now. Does this one have a booklet? It does not. Oh, but that's cool. I like the back cover. It's pretty neat. It's like DVDs. Again, no idea what the plot is. It's VR compatible. I don't have a VR set, so that's not really useful for me, but it looks really pretty. I love the art style of it, and I'm hoping it's fun. Next, I have Kingdom Hearts 3. This is the first video game that I ever passed before my siblings, so I grew up adoring this series. I just love the idea of being able to go into different worlds. Like, you know how you kind of always make an original character for a series you love and stick it in there to try and integrate it into the story as a fantasy thing? Well, I did that a lot growing up, so Kingdom Hearts was perfect for me. It just brought all those fantasies to life. This does have a book. No, it doesn't have a booklet. It just has an advertisement on the inside for whatever this is. Final Fantasy, but this is what the disc looks like. And I have already passed it on easy. The plot is, if you've never played Kingdom Hearts before, it's about this one main character named Sora who, through a series of events, has to go through all these Disney worlds, beat the bosses because darkness is taking over, through some roundabout, complicated storyline to try and make peace over something that happened previously. He has to save some people, he has to save the Disney world and the Disney characters, all while upgrading his Keyblade powers, which is how he fights. A giant Keyblade. Growing up, it wasn't that annoying, but when I played this, I was very aware of how generic and very kid friendly a lot of the dialogue is, and that part was a little obnoxious, but it was still a very enjoyable game. Some of the levels I felt were really unfinished, and I wish Disney had not intervened as much as they did with some of the media that they used, because I know Frozen got severely changed, and that was the one I was looking forward to the most because I wanted to fight with Elsa, and you don't get to do that. So that was my least favorite world out of all of them. But overall, very entertaining game. The music is still really good. The fighting is super fun. The Disney ride powers that they give you are kind of too much for me. They became annoying after a while, especially when you got them back to back. But other than that, it was a very enjoyable game, and I look forward to anything that they make. I'm probably going to buy it. Next, I have Code Vein, and this one is a post-apocalyptic world where humans have essentially died out, and vampires now roam the earth that is in ruins, and they have to try and find, I can't remember the terminology, but they have to try and find some trees that have these little blood pods in them to survive. The disc is not in here because I'm actually playing it. It's in my PS4. I have not finished, not even close. I don't think I've even beaten the first boss because this video game frightens me. I was looking at this at Gamestop, and my friend bought it to me for Christmas, which I'm very grateful for because that means I didn't have to pay full price for this. But I did not realize that the fighting style with this is similar to Dark Souls, and while I have personally not played that game, I've seen my siblings play it, and it has a reputation for a reason. Very, very carefully trying to pass this game. I've died many times. It is fun. The character creator at the beginning took me an hour to get through because it's super detailed. So if you like that part of a game, you are gonna love this character creator. Other than that, I haven't gotten too deep into the plot, so I can't say much about that, but it is pretty fun. The fightings and the monsters are really cool. The setting is really detailed. So far, so good. Next, I have two anime series that I recently bought for myself. One is One Punch Man Season 1. I love One Punch Man. Second season was disappointing. And I know it's only going to get more disappointing because I read the webcomic a while back, and I never finished, but I did stop because Saitama just stopped being in the series after a while, which got really annoying because he's the only reason I even watched this. Or read this, I suppose. So because of that, I know that the following seasons will have him in it, just not as much. They're going to focus a lot more on the side characters, which I just don't care about. So I decided, let's just buy season 1 since it's the best season so far. I don't need this code, so if one of y'all wants it, here you go. The back has My Hero Academia, One Piece, and Black Clover. Here is what the discs look like. And if you've never heard of One Punch Man, it's essentially a gag anime / manga about this gentleman named Saitama who decides one day he wants to be a hero. So he trains through this very specific regimen. He essentially becomes so superpowered that no one can beat him. He can beat any boss with just one punch. And that is essentially the plot. No one knows about him, so he joins a hero organization to try and get recognized and get income and stuff. And it's pretty much that, just people reacting to this super overpowered guy that just suddenly, or was always with them and they just never knew. Really funny. Animation is so good. The next anime that I have is Big Wind Up. I've been wanting to watch the series for a long time. I know it's on Funimation, which I do pay for, but I don't know. I found this on eBay, so I figured, you know what? Let's get it, because I actually did order the second season, which is not dubbed, from Right Stuff, and unfortunately they can't ship that to me until the rest of my order is in stock, and some of it was pre-ordered, so I'm gonna have to wait a while for that. In the meantime, I decided to buy the first season. This is a sports anime, love sports anime, focused on baseball. I've seen screenshots and GIFs and all kinds of stuff of this, and it seems really funny. It's been on my list for a while, so I figured, you know what, let's get it. And this is episodes 1 through 26. Funimation dubbed the first season, which this is. And then I think Sentai or somebody else ended up licensing the second season. which means it did not get dubbed, which is very sad. But I've heard good things, hoping it's good. Super excited to watch this. I pre-ordered this and I completely forgot about it, so it was a nice surprise to get it in the mail one day. This is The Way of the House Husband by Kyosuke Ono. And it's absolutely hilarious. I was reading this online before it ended up getting published, but I'm so happy that they decided to publish it. Viz Media, thank you. So, as you can probably tell from the cover, this is about a former Yakuza member, or boss possibly, I don't know that part yet, who ends up marrying and becomes a house husband. And the whole manga is just gags of him with his scary face, Yakuza demeanor, making his way through being a house husband, doing chores, going to the grocery store, and scaring everyone with his look, being super dramatic over getting a bargain and things like that. It's just so funny. Like, look at this. He cracks me up. And his wife is such a sweetheart. I love her. So I would highly recommend this series. Such an entertaining read. Super good. And I think the next 2 volumes are out. I still need to order those. But the last 2 that I have to show are volumes 4 and 6 of Nightmare Inspector, Yume Koi Kenbun. This is a series that I read when I was in middle school and I absolutely loved it. The art style is really good. And the story, it's only 9 volumes long, so it's nice and short. It just hit me at some point. It was an episodic type of series where this Nightmare Inspector, called Hiruko, I believe. It's been a while since I read it. He is a Baku, which is a dream-eating demon. He lives with this girl in her tea house and essentially takes customers every now and then of people who are having nightmares. He goes in, investigates their nightmare, figures out why it's happening, solves it, and then as a reward he gets to eat the nightmare. In that sense, it reminds me a lot of Triple X Holic with the kind of mystery / supernatural detective type of stuff. But this one was just, it got really dark really fast, kind of towards the end. But I just really loved it. I loved all the characters. I loved the stories of all the nightmares. Sometimes they would get really, really dark. And it was so short and sweet. I decided to start collecting the volumes. I think this is still being published and sold on Right Stuff. But because the volumes that I have are kind of old, I decided to buy them used so they could kind of match. I wouldn't have super white volumes versus the tinted ones. I was gonna finally complete the set, but unfortunately the person who was selling volumes 5 and 7 on eBay had an error and they canceled my order, so now my collection is incomplete. So I'm looking for those and hopefully someone will list them soon. But this is a manga I would highly recommend anyone read. The art style is really good. Here's just a closer look of it. And it's not super deep or anything, but it can really hit you with the stories. And the characters are really good too. This is a little awkward to film here just because it's so big, but here I have the Death Note art book. I don't remember the name of it. Oh, there it is. Blank et Noir by Obata Takeshi, which is the artist for Death Note. Death Note was a manga that was published as a collaboration between this artist and the actual author, who I believe did all the writing for the story. But it's always been an art style that has stuck with me over the years, so I really wanted this art book. And my boyfriend, he's so generous, he bought it for me for Christmas, and I'm so thankful because I was not expecting it to be this big. So here's the back of it. It has this really cool sleeve that's kind of a faux leather texture. And then it comes with all of these little posters, most of which are inside. I just using this for the cover, but they're double-sided, so you have Misa on the back. And you could use those, hang them up. And then we have on the actual book this cross. Before I get to the book, I just want to show the little posters. So you get 3 or 4 in total, I believe. So this is one side. I love this side. Then the back. A little risque, I apologize. I think some of these are original works and the others are Death Note. So here's this one. And then Hikaru no Go, which is a manga this artist also drew for. And I'm just going to flip through it really quickly. The inside is really cool. It's a little shimmery. And then we have this page. A lot of the pages in here are either 2-page artworks or they fold out to create posters, which is super cool. This one's a really big one that folds out both ways. Not only that, but some of the pages have different textures on them. For example, this is just a glossy photo page, and this one is more matte and shimmery. But just, if you've ever read Death Note, it's just such a cool series. I know a lot of people think it's overrated, but the amount of drama this caused, and just as a 14-year-old, this was awesome. This one's metallic, which is really cool. So it's a mix of majority Death Note artwork. I think all of it, actually. I recognize majority of this artwork from the volumes and in between chapters. Oh, I always love that look for Misa. And then also some personal works. So here we have, because I don't recognize this character, so I'm assuming this is a personal work. Some portraits. Sorry I can't fit all of this in frame. It's just such a big book. And then we have some, this does look like it's from a series. I just don't know what. This page is really cool. It's pretty grainy, so it has that scroll type of texture, which fits this samurai artwork. And then we have, not sure what this is actually, but it looks like a character. And then the back, a lot of it is, wow, this one just has that kind of watercolor texture. I don't think you can probably tell on the camera, but it's really cool. I just love that they went through that much trouble for this art book. It's really worth your money if you decide to buy it. I was just stingy. I never bought it. But this, and then we have the artwork for Hikaru no Go, which is, I've heard Go is comparable to chess, but it's a bit different. The theme of the game is a lot different than chess, but that's the closest comparison I can think of. But he did a lot of the artwork, or he did all of the artwork for that manga. And it was a pretty popular manga. I know it got an anime as well that did air in the US. I remember seeing it on TV at one point, but I don't think it stayed that popular. But there we go, and then the back has some steps on his drawing process, which is really cool. And then reference points. Just, oh, this art book is so cool. I hope I didn't take too long, but if you are a fan of this artist, if you were a fan of Death Note, this is definitely something to buy as a collector's piece. And then this last thing is also a gift from my boyfriend. He was so crazy this Christmas. So this is Gaara from Naruto. I've been wanting this figure for a long time. He's not sold, or I think being produced anymore, so the only way you can get him is pretty pricey in official shops or secondhand from collectors. He's a bit over $200 last I checked. If not 200, I feel like I saw him for 200 on Amazon. I don't know. Point is, he's kind of pricey, but he's so cool. Look at him. And I actually don't have him in the box because he's on display on my shelf, which I'll show you in a second. But Gaara was by far my favorite character from Naruto. Oh, that second season, or the Shippuden series, when it first started, hit me really hard, if you know what I mean. But I'm so happy to have this figure. Hopefully that's enough light, but this is what he looks like on display. He's so cool. There's just so much detail in him. The marking on his forehead, his expression, his nails are even painted, which is pretty neat of a detail. The sand that's flying around him is actually textured, so it's not just a solid plastic piece. They actually put some grain in there. Hopefully I can show y'all. But yeah, if you're a Gaara fan, this is a figure that I would highly recommend if you can find it. I know it's kind of, I feel like secondhand you could probably find it easily, but I'm so grateful to have this. I love him. I wanted this haul to be short and sweet, but I rambled again and I apologize. But this is everything that I got in recent times. I still have some stuff on pre-order, and for sure I'm looking into getting the Code Geass Resurrection movie since I saw that in theaters and it was great and I want that in my collection. But for now, this is pretty much all I've gotten, which I'm kind of proud of myself for not spending too much. Anime and manga are definitely one of the more expensive sides of hobbies that I have. It's not cheap to buy 1 or even 2 volumes, but I do love everything that I get, which is something I can't really say for things like squishies. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.